Hello everyone, this is your psychological mentor, Park Seni. When I do counseling, there are times when I even end up educating the children of psychiatrists. You might think that psychiatrists know an incredible amount and would raise their children to be perfectly mentally healthy, but that's not always the case. To give you a concrete example from my own experience, this happened about 15 or 16 years ago. It was about 14 or 15 years ago, and at that time, the daughter of a very high-ranking member, though I shouldn't mention the exact position of the Korean Psychiatric Association, was refusing to go to school. So the case was referred to me to find out the child's mental state, and I also used hypnotherapy to help her return to school. Since she was quite young at the time, I used hypnotherapy as well. So after various processes of persuasion and such efforts, I was able to help her return to school. But even so, no matter how famous a psychiatrist may be, and this is the point of this video, they did not use medication on their own child. They do not use medication, and they entrusted their child to someone like me who has the knowledge to bring about change. I do not have the authority to prescribe medication because I am not a psychiatrist. But even if I did have the authority to prescribe medication, I don't think I would have used it readily. Of course, if I had entered that world, if I had become part of the world of psychiatrists, I might have become accustomed to their ways as well. But as it stands, I really dislike the idea of using medication carelessly, and I don't believe that psychiatric drugs can provide a perfect solution. On the contrary, they can actually create a kind of stigma. It can also instill in the child the belief that they absolutely can't function without medication. So even now, I see a lot of students who go to psychiatrists. Even at boarding academies, I often see kids who are taking psychiatric medication. And every time I see that, I always repeat the knowledge I share and encourage them to think about it, telling them that they should eventually be able to let go of the medication. There are actually quite a few students who do well, quit the medication, and go on to strengthen their mental resilience. Taking psychiatric medication as casually as if it were over-the-counter cold medicine is something I find truly concerning and regrettable. It's the same with ADHD as well. ADHD stands for attention deficit, meaning a lack of attention, and the H is for hyperactivity, while D stands for disorder. So it's something like a hyperactivity disorder or excessive activity disorder. But I see many psychiatrists diagnosing and mass-producing ADHD as if it's some kind of trend. I don't know. I've seen so many cases where kids are excessively labeled in this way, almost inevitably stigmatized. And I think that's a real problem. Even among children diagnosed with ADHD, I've seen significant changes through education that repeatedly instills and engraves essential knowledge in just a few sessions. So I know there are many parents who are tempted to solve everything with medication, but instead of that, I believe it's more important to help children realize fundamental mental values and to make sure they learn the essential knowledge they truly need. Even when I explain this, there are still some people who insist that medication is the only way. So I want to emphasize that even psychiatrists didn't use medication for their own children. Rather than giving young kids medication that could potentially harm their brains, I believe it's much more important for parents to read a lot of books, have many conversations, and observe their children more carefully themselves. When parents don't do that well, they tend to try to solve things with money or medication, but that's never truly a solution. Nevertheless, it's becoming easier for parents to fall into that temptation. I made this video because I find that quite unfortunate. When it comes to mental health, instead of using drugs that actually damage the brain, it's important to equip yourself with the essential knowledge needed for mental well-being. Don't just pay attention to mental health when problems arise. Make it a habit to read books regularly and to keep learning from successful people as a form of prevention. By maintaining this attitude, you can guide your children, and young students should also make such efforts. Alright, let's wrap up here for today. I'm doing my best as well, so I hope all of you will also do your best. Always stay strong. Thank you. Oh, and please subscribe, like, and turn on notifications.